Trevor Ilesley. Hopefully we're live, so let's go live again. Hello and welcome to Beamism. Hopefully we are up and running. Let's just get a double check here just to make sure that everybody can see me before I begin even the topic of what we're doing tonight, which is, are we human beings? So I'm just waiting for confirmation to see if I am being seen. Gotcha. We're all live. Got the mic ready. Got the other mic ready just in case it all goes wrong. So tonight we're going to be talking about, are we human beings? I used to think I was a human being, and then I realised I'm not a human being and that I am something else. Hi David Smith. Who did what? I'm still confused of why you're out there living all that way away, considering where we first met up, which was an amazing experience. Let me know that you are that David Smith when I came round to your house that time, down by the river, and now you've moved. So you've gone further afield there. So welcome to the show, Ruth Jones. Zantzia, hi Trevor, double E, greetings from Finland. Okay, Chris Milk, good afternoon everybody. Good evening from here. So hopefully everything's looking pretty good and it's ready to rumble. Hi from Glasgow, Leon. So we're going from Glasgow to Finland, all the way over to New Hampshire. So tonight I do want to touch on, are we human beings? We've all been led to believe, aren't we, that we are human beings. I used to think that I was a human being until my soul told me that I am not a human being. And the reason why I got to that stage within my life where I recognised that everything is just in three letters, be me, as it is in being you, that began the process of awakening my soul and letting go of the human being that I used to be. Now, when you hear me turn around and say, you've got to get rid of the human being because the human being is the very thing that's killing you. What does that mean? It's the unconsciousness of you that is letting you believe your life is pointless. But when you connect into your soul rather than your spirit, connecting into your soul is a lot closer to home than what a lot of people are talking about. I also want to touch on tonight the kingdom of heaven. You know, we hear a lot of people turn around and say, the kingdom of heaven is within you. We've heard Jesus said it the same. He said the same, the kingdom of heaven is within you. And we've got a lot of people turning around and saying that the kingdom of heaven is within you. So we're going to touch base on that because I want to know how. And I'm going to give you my version on how that is possible. Hi Zantsu. Hi Hypnicity, greetings from snowy Linwood, Washington. Oh, it's snowing, is it, in Washington? Okay, we're all here. The Gospels, yes, the Gospels. The Gospels. Love the Gospels. There's so many of them going around at this moment. And we never know what's right. We never know what's wrong. We never know who's telling the truth because we're now living in an age of who's right. And do these thousands of year-old scriptures help us today in the Western world to survive in a world that's spent on trying to destroy the very humanness of who we are? And as you know, I'm going way beyond that word called human being because, as I've said, human being is going to kill you as it was going to kill me. So, hi Hypnicity. Yep. Brooke, freezing cold. Hello to everybody. Michelle Lawson from Maine. It's nice to know where you all come from. Obviously, I'm in the UK. I suppose you've gathered that by my accent. It's very fluent. Leon, my mother and aunt is at my grandfather's bedside at the moment. He won't see tomorrow, unfortunately. Oh, bless. Okay, well, many blessings go your way, Leon. Hopefully it's a part of life that we're all going to have to go through. So that'll be a little story in your life and experiences. So many blessings to you. Diana May or Ma from Orlando, Florida. Wow, okay. Because you're all about 8 hours behind, aren't you, I believe, in compared to the UK. I'd like to do later versions of my show because, I'd like to get to America around about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. But I think that means I'm going to have to be doing them about 2 o'clock in the morning. I am up at 2 o'clock in the morning, but I don't know if I'll be wide awake at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's make sure everyone's here. Everyone's coming in now. So again, have you heard what I'm talking about? We're talking about, are we a human being? Is there any truth behind being called a human being? Then we got the other side of the story, haven't we? Where they say, we're not human beings, we're spiritual beings having a human life. But to me, that still didn't make sense. You can understand what spirituality is all about. Spirituality for me is just a way of being. There's many forms of spirituality that's out there, and you hear many people turn around and say, I'm spiritual, not religious. So religion comes under the dogma title, doesn't it? We're here today to try and understand who we are. You personally, me personally, how do we live our lives? Because apparently this life only exists because you do. And that's how important it is. And when you hear me speak about beamism gives you meaning in a world that is meaningless. Because if you ask many human beings what is the meaning of life, they will have no idea. I never had a clue about the meaning and purpose of life. But when beamism came into play, and I really got it, and I really worked it out, it got to the point where I said to myself, I am the meaning of life. I am the purpose of my life. And so therefore, how do we do that? Self-belief. Self-belief. But if you still believe that you are a human being, then I'm afraid that conscious or unconscious programming will get you to believe that your life is just so. It doesn't mean anything. You just do. It just happens. Shit happens. But there are no coincidences in this journey, as I soon discovered that once you open to your soul, everything is planned, everything is on plan, and you are heading in the right direction. But sometimes we have to let go of things. As I call it, let go of the coffee table. It's worth nothing. Many people hold on to the coffee table because it's worth a lot of money. Letting go of the coffee table means let go of the material world and enjoy who you are and what is your ultimate perception. What is your ultimate presence of who you are? So I bring beamism. It's a revolutionary inner soul evolution. Rise, short. Ultimate perception, up. Body, mind, energy, be me. Zantsu. Sorry about sorrow and missing you have to face when your grandpa has to go. Okay. Chris, to be honest, I too lose so much. However, I get it now. See, we do lose things, but they're just things. I had a lot of importance in things. It could be clothes, my importance of clothes in my workplace. Being a hairdresser, you always had to look smart. But did they mean anything? No. So when everything went, and that included my home, my car, my phone, I had nothing. It left me with a place where I said to myself, what have I got left? And I remember screaming up at the ceiling and saying, you've left me with nothing. And a voice replied, are you sure about that? Yes, I'm 100% sure about that. But of course, what it left me with is the essence of who I am, and that's who I have become today. When you are transforming from a human being into your Be Me being, it is a process. You can be a week old, you can be 1 month old, you can be 27 years old, long as you start that transformation. Now, in that transformation, you've got to be really careful if you say to yourself, I can't be bothered to do this. This is going to be hard work. I ain't got time to do this. If you're going through depression, you may be thinking to yourself, well, it's pointless. There's no way I'm going to get out of depression, so I won't bother about it. But whatever time that we have left on this planet is worth it. So therefore, I went through a period of time when I was looking at my life thinking everything was going to be good tomorrow. Maybe it'll be good the next day, but it never did. So for me, I had to start doing the work, and I had to start breaking down who I thought I was to allow who I am to come through. So I am, that great big philosophical word, who am I? I am a be me. So once you start getting used to calling yourself, you are a be me, having a body-mind experience. How beautiful is that to turn around and say, I am having a body and mind experience, because that is all there is. And once you understand the power of three, then you start to understand that you can start to control and master your life from within. Hence, the kingdom of heaven is within, but we'll touch on that a little bit later. Chris, okay, with Chris, I want to just be me. Okay, Leon, you want to be you, you decide who that is. Now, understanding who the be me is can be many things, as long as it's not human. So you can just say to yourself, well, I want to be me, and I want to love whom I are. I want to love who I am, and that's your be me. You don't have to go no further than that. That is your be me. It's just to love who you are. My be me obviously came out with a whole new philosophy, a whole new awareness to healing. But your personal be me can just be this. I want to grow in confidence. I want to evolve as a being. I want to be able to see the kingdom of God. I want to see the beauty of the planet. Because to me, as you've heard me say, this is the kingdom of God. Let's forget about going to the kingdom of God, because I think the biggest trick on the planet is, let's destroy the world. Let's kill many, many people because of different race or religion. Don't worry, you're going to the kingdom of God. It's a better place than it is here. I'm not taking my chance on that. I want this to be the better place. And the only way that that can be done is when you make your inner world the better place. And it does work. Ethnicity is saying, interesting, my grandma left this earth 52 years ago today. My mother left 25 years ago today. And my cousin 8 years ago today. Interesting synchronicities around that date. It's strange how that works, isn't it? And the interesting thing about it is, let's see who else is going to be leaving on that date. But I believe there's no coincidence. That cannot be coincidental. Somewhere along the line, especially along the ancestral lineage, these dates have been showing up before. And it's very hard to sort of understand. But that's a lot on them dates that seems to be happening all that time. So today, as I said, we're talking about, are you a human being? Do you still believe that you are a human being? What did you get from being a human being? What did you learn from being a human being? Did you always feel like something was missing within you? Did you feel like you should have been more, could have been more, could have thought more, could have loved more? It's the difference between the human being and the be me being. What's with all the earthquakes in Greece? Is Mother Earth shaking us off? I think somewhere along the line she will do at some point, because Mother Earth is listening to the whole damn thing of what's going on. And I truly believe that. I believe when we create a lot of havoc on this planet, and boy do we do that, I think Mother Earth every now and again says, I'll show you who's got the power. And she has the power. And so therefore, I always believe that Mother Earth is the most powerfulest thing on this planet, and we ignore it. So that's why I always turn around and say, we are in the kingdom of God, because this kingdom got created for us to experience who we are for a short time. And let's face it, it is very much a short time, isn't it? Who knows when that time comes up? And as I've said before, I see so many people leaving this planet. There are so many accidents going on at this moment. It is truly amazing to see how many people have left the planet, including with these stupid wars that are going on. Hypnicity, she won't let us ignore her forever. Absolutely, she won't. I think too many people have put the emphasis on God is way up there. And I think, you know, we've forgotten about the God here, the creator, the intelligent consciousness, because it's so beautiful. And I'll tell you a story. I was at a local zoo, or it's more of a farm really. And I was standing there and I was in the enclosure where there was emus. I don't know if you've ever been, no, not an emu, an ostrich. That's it, an ostrich. I don't know if you've been close up to an ostrich. They are a strange bird. And I was looking at this ostrich and I looked at it and I thought, my God, you're such a strange object. And I almost looked at it and I thought, you're quite ugly in a way. You've got this little small head, you've got this massive great big body with these wings that you can't fly. You've got these skinny little legs, you've got these big feet, and it had a crooked beak. But a voice said to me, take away the identity, and what is it? You call it an ostrich, and you just judged it by the way that it looked. But as that voice turned around and said to me, take away what it is that you're seeing. Do not call it an ostrich. It doesn't know that it's an ostrich. And the moment I did that, I fell in love with pure creation. And I kid you not, I swear that ostrich started fluttering its eyelashes like that and winked at me. And it was the most beautifulest thing I'd ever seen. And then it took me to a point that here I am on this planet sharing the space with this so-called ostrich that was looking at me and probably looking at me thinking, what, look at that ugly thing looking back at me. So the idea behind beamism and beamy was to get rid of identity. Once you get rid of that identity, you start to see things in a completely different way. You could almost look at this ostrich as if it's an alien. And what I mean by that is it is a creature, it is pure creation, and it's on this planet, and it's going to live for X amount of years, just the same as who you are and what you are. But when you take that away, you will see nothing but beauty. Look at anything. Look at any animal or insect. If you create an identity behind what it is, you can be scared of that identity. Let's say, for instance, a rat, right? As soon as we mention the word, there's a rat in the garden, or there's a rat in the front room, or whatever be the case, there's an uproar, isn't there? Because most horror films, somewhere along the line, will have a rat in there. But when you take that horrible word away, and then you just look at this amazing, beautiful creature that's trying to survive, it's trying to bring up its family, it's trying to find a mate, and it's trying to live as long as it possibly can, and it's trying to protect itself in whatever way it can. So take away identities. And that's where you'll find the beamy, because human is just an identity. 8 billion people will say, yes, we are human beings. Now, we are on a planet where everyone's talking about truth and illusion. Well, where's the truth in the human being then? There isn't one. Trust me, I've looked. There is no truth behind the word called human being as being our identity. I'd like to know what they said we was way back in the caveman days. I'm sure they didn't even think about being a human being, because they had no titles. They had no gender, they had no form of language, but they must have communicated in a completely different way, obviously. So what and how was they communicating with? The only thing that I could possibly say is pure energy. Once you're starting to understand pure energy, then you'll find the identity of everything on this planet. I'm a rat. Are you saying you're a rat in the Chinese? You're the rat? I think I come under the rat and the Chinese labelling. Yes, labelling, says Zippy. Yeah, it's all about labelling. Label it. God, I'm getting my words mixed up tonight. Take a breath, Mr. Isley. Yes, it is a division and it's also a diversion. Hi, Leonard. Welcome to my show. I believe you're the first time on here. Nice vibe. I like it. Hypnicity. Isn't that what life is all about? It is, but it's you is what life is all about. This is what it means to you, so you find that meaning. Harry, welcome to the show. I thought this was worth sharing, Trev. I have done ayahuasca many times. I was shown and told that we only have to reincarnate back to Earth if we don't pass the tests and the lessons. Okay, I'm not so sure about that for me, but I've never done ayahuasca. But I do know people that have done ayahuasca and they've had some very interesting results. And I think in majority of it all, I think people can get different results. Some people get really good results. Some people can have sort of bad results. I do believe it's probably at what place are you in the first place. But there's a lot of talk at this moment about reincarnation back onto this earth if we don't pass the tests and the lessons. Did they say anything about what was the tests and what was the lessons? Because if that is the case, then it means that we are in a school. So that means that we are pupils to this school. So let me know a little bit more about that, Harry. Let's open that conversation up. Let's open it up to the beamies. Anyone else been on ayahuasca? Anyone else been on that trip? What did you discover? It's quite good. I've never tried it. I just don't fancy drinking something and then being sick for half an hour. I don't think I could. I don't think I could handle that, or even hearing somebody being sick. That would just do me in, I think. It's amazing. Harry says, it's amazing your philosophy matches up with what the shamans say. Earth is a living and breathing organism. Yeah, breathing Mother Earth. Be me. That most humans don't have much respect for. I think it like this. If there was that form of reincarnation, I think you would go back onto the other side and somebody would say to you, what did you think about life? And you would turn around and say, my God, it was hard work, it was trouble, it was stressful, it was very depressing. And they go, no, you're just talking about yourself, you're talking about emotions. What did you think about life? And you'd say, oh, I missed it actually. It rained a lot, it snowed a lot, it was sunny sometimes. It was all right, you know, things were going on, a couple of animals, you know, some greenery. We didn't have the full picture of life. So if it's about reincarnation, I think you'd be given that choice maybe to turn around and go, do you really want to go back and have another look? Because you've done 50, 60, 80, 90 years and you miss life altogether. But that's the human programming. It makes you want to miss life. Hypnicity, I want in big capital letters to reincarnate to Earth. I love this planet. Brilliant. So you're somebody that loves this planet. I love this planet. I just don't love the system. And I think I don't know what the future is going to bring, but what I do know what the future is going to bring, I think humans are going to completely lose themselves even more to the essence of who they are. So hypnicity, if you're coming back, then please come back with some teaching so that you can teach people what they're missing, because that's why we're here now. That's what we're doing. As for the reincarnation, I used to totally believe in reincarnation, especially with all the dreams that I was having, visions, nightmares really. But then I realised, no, I didn't realise. I was shown that it wasn't reincarnation, but what was happening is that my ancestral lineage was uploading information about their past lives, which then made me believe they were my past lives. And you can connect in, it's all in your DNA. You are a process of the soul of souls, which means all of your ancestral lineage. You contain all of them. And as I've said, I discovered that I come from 600 years of preachers. And so therefore, within them 600 years of preachers, look what I'm doing. I'm preaching. And I didn't even know that I was preaching. But when I put it all together and found the history of my lineage and realised that they was very important preachers, and I looked at myself, what am I doing? I'm not a past life being. I'm just carrying on what they left off with. But they spoke a lot about the Bible. I don't speak about the Bible. So I believe it was me that was going to start to break the chain of what my ancestors believed. Because what I received from them was, you don't have to believe in that to get to the kingdom of God, which meant to get to spirit. But you can kick yourself if you did believe in that, but you're going there anyway. So what was the point of learning all of that and teaching all of that stuff? Now, they've not reincarnated, but they are in me. So there's almost like a form of reincarnation because it's within me. But if I didn't go into depression, if I didn't go into the dark night of the soul, then I would not know absolutely none of this. I would have just been living my life thinking, I have no idea what life means. I just cut hair and it's as simple as that. Right, okay, so we have, right, so hypnicity wants to come back onto the planet. Anybody else want to come back? Most people I've heard, they definitely do not want to be coming back. Zantsu says, mixed emotions in ideas, and we are as humans, it makes us question things and labels. But every now and then we get clear understanding, which gives us hope. Yes, you can get clear understanding. We have loads of questions, and we will forever have questions about what does it mean to be a human being, and most importantly, what does it mean to be you? I had loads of questions, I had no answers. But when I got rid of the human, my be me gave me all of the answers. And that's when my soul's lineage joined on board and helped me to discover that I am in my lineage. And I kind of saw it like, I see it like there's me in the physical, but then there's this invisible, etheric, spiritual, soulful lineage that stretches all the way back to the source energy. And that to me was so beautiful and so comforting and so unbelievable and so eye-awakening that it was amazing. It gave more adventure. It got me to appreciate life. It got me to appreciate people. It got me to appreciate literally everything on the planet. And so therefore, all amounts of judgments that I had as a human being completely resolved itself. There's no form of judgment. There's no need to judge. People do what they do in the way that they're doing it. That's the way that they do it. But for me, I understand myself even more than I've ever understood myself. I discovered intelligence. And this is why I do these shows, to help you to bring in some intelligence, some pure, soulful intelligence. And once you get to that point, you will truly understand healing, because you're actually healing your ancestral lineage. Because my lineage spoke supposedly the truth to discover it was a lie. So they led me down the pathway to discover the lie, to then discover the truth. And they are very happy with the results. And it's been fantastic. Right, Chris Milk says the system is correct, Trevor. The system is correct. Okay, right. Don't know how to open that one up. Repeat. Pete says, Zansu says, breaking lineage habits. It is truly that. I think it's, you look at the simple form of it. People have phobias and they don't know why. That's carried on from ancestral lineage. I believe that to be really so now, because what's the other reason? Why would you be, you can have people, let's say, that live in England, right, and they're scared of snakes. Well, we don't really get snakes. There's a couple, but there's not that many, and they're definitely not going to kill you. So why would you really be scared of snakes? So it's come from somewhere. And don't forget, our lineage, your physical, 100% physical lineage has been right across this globe. They have trod on so many footpaths from country to country to country. Your family is all over the place, as I discovered. So I can't hate anybody. I can't hate any other country. I can't hate any other religion. I can't hate any other colour, because there's still my family there. And once you do that DNA thing, you find out just how widespread your family is. And it's so interesting. But when we look at the human being, your mum and dad, your grandparents or a couple of grandparents, you might know your great-great-grandparents, but beyond that, of course, we don't know them. VG says, right, getting back to breaking lineage habits. Yes, I did a YouTube on that, breaking the ancestral lineage. It is so true. VG, do not want to come back. Definitely not. Chris says he is an old soul. So an old soul, sign of universal language, the soul means. So you have an old language that's working within you. Hopefully you've really connected into that. I mean, you can look at children and sort of say they're old souls, they're wise, there's something about them. But if we don't allow children to be children on their soulful journey, we will treat them like children and they'll grow up like children and their lives will just be like human. They will never fully accomplish their mission. Renee. Hi, Renee. Welcome to the show. How do you get to that part in understanding your lineage if you don't know it or who your parents were? Oh, that's an interesting question. That one I wouldn't know who the parents was. But again, it would all be in DNA connections to it. So basically, your DNA is going to connect up with literally someone, somewhere, as mine did. I mean, as I discovered within mine took me right back. The lower the percentage in that DNA recording, that's more ancient that is. That's like the real beginnings of your family. And then the stronger that it becomes, it brings us up to where we are in today. So I could turn around and say that most of my DNA, let's say, is kind of English, right? But then as it filtered through and filtered down to its minimal point, that took me all the way back into ancient Egypt. So therefore, when I got the map of my family coming out of ancient Egypt and then travelling across the globe to get to England, to me, that was astronomical. And that to me was fantastic. If you just do a DNA testing on that, Renee, even though you don't know your parents, your DNA is still going to show you where your lineage is. And you never know, maybe you might find your parents in there somewhere along it. So I was watching a programme last night about people that didn't know who their parents were. And it's incredible to think that they were given away. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of times they was given away because back in the 60s or even early 70s, young mothers were not capable or couldn't have children, and so therefore they was given to somebody else to look after. So basically they was taken away. And back then in the day, your grandma might have been horrible, and she wouldn't want to look after him, which is what they were saying on last night's one. But the interesting thing is that she connected in with her family, and they'd been looking for her as well for a long time. So they'd all been looking for each other, but just never made that connection. But I think that's due to we didn't have the resources back then like we've got now. So that must be hard for you, not knowing who your parents were. How does that make you feel? Is there anybody else on here that is doesn't know who their parents are, or they felt that they got abandoned by their parents? I mean, that must be awful. It must be hard to understand, because it leaves you with that question that says, well, who am I? There it is, isn't it? If you don't know who we are or where you've come from, that must be very hard. So let us know on that, Renee. Open it up with a chat. Anyone else? Anyone still got their parents or don't know who their parents are? It's a very interesting subject, and there's some amazing programs on it here in the UK. Diana says, I'm not sure if I want to come back. I'm so curious to see the other side and realms. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, we are curious. I've seen it. I've seen it many times. And also as well, it will work on your level of consciousness of what you want to see when you kind of get onto the other side of that. So I've been on the other side, and I've seen people that were just at the normal level human consciousness state, and their realm still consists of that human level conscious state, right? And so therefore, if there was a form of reincarnation, then I think the idea would be to come back to transcend and elevate one's consciousness, to create and build a different vision of oneself, enhancing your spirit world. I've seen both sides. I've seen an incredible intelligence on one side, and then I've seen the mums and dads of this world. And it was really interesting when I was young. I must have been about 21, and I woke up 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like, whoa, oh, my nan's just died. And I went with her, and it was so interesting because as it felt like I was being elevated with my nan into the spirit world. It's almost like as if she was coming up from the ground. It's like leveling up, like on a lift, being on a lift. And as she was lifting up, she was coming up, and I was seeing it the same as hers. Like I saw this much, and then the rest of my body came up with it, sort of thing. And I just heard everyone saying to her, Winifred, her name was, and we called her Winnie. And I just heard her husband saying, Winnie, over here. Winnie, come over here. And there was loads of people that was coming to greet her. So that, to me, was a joy to actually experience that. I thought that was truly amazing. Be Me, the book of Be Me came from the world of spirit. So that's how I can title myself as a spiritual messenger, because I got the message from spirit. So I went to that point in that spiritual realm, and I was given that book, and I was so amazed, and so, I don't know what the word, there isn't a word actually, because the feeling is just beyond any feeling that you can class as being a human, right? So it goes way beyond all of that. And so, the book was titled Be Me. It was a white book with gold lettering, and one day that's how the book will look. And I thought it was going to give me all the answers. I thought it was going to be absolutely amazing. I opened up the book, and there was nothing in it. And I was so disappointed, and I said, there's nothing in it. And they said, it's yet to be written. I thought, wow, that's disappointing. I thought I was going to have all the answers. But what it meant that it was yet to be written, because I've experienced that realm of spirit so many times, that's my end goal. So when we have human goals, we say, oh, we're going to have a family, you know, we're going to get a house, we're going to get a job, we're going to get all these things, I'm going to pass my driving test. You know, that seems to be your goals. You want to be successful. But when you truly are immersed in your spirit and your soul, your goal is only to get back into the spirit world. So when I was taken to that spirit world, and then I was shown how I was living my life, what I was doing with it, how far I travelled in it, how I felt about it, what was I thinking about it. And they got me to look at it, and this is why the book was empty, see? So they got me to look at it and sort of say, what would you do that was so different now you know that this is the goal? And that was it for me. Totally different goal. And so therefore, when I was looking at myself here in this realm, it really wasn't doing much. It really hadn't gone anywhere. It was just going up and down, left and right, up and down, left and right. It was literally like this little dot that was doing nothing because it didn't have any form of awareness of itself. It just thought, oh, this is what you do, this is how you do it. So they gave me a second chance. And that's what happens in NDE, you know, when people die. They come back, and if it's not about doing anything that's different or creating anything different, they do sure appreciate life in a completely different way because they've seen that spirit world. They've seen the unknown. Once you know the unknown, your life becomes a completely different thing. As I say to people, if you've seen one spirit, that's enough to convince you that you have a spirit too, and that you can be doing something completely different with your life because you want to connect in with your own spirit, and your spirit wants to connect in with you. Get rid of the human being, that's spiritual. That's spiritual when you get rid of the human being. There you go, there's the answer. VG says, definitely don't want to come back. I'm an old soul. How'd you get to that? Right, okay. I'm not sure if I want to come back. I'm so curious. Right, okay, we've got there. Leonard says, love your Dark Night of the Soul videos. The music that you put in the background of that video, it was so powerful and mysterious. Helped me to go through my Dark Night of the Soul. Resonated 100%. I'm glad. I'm glad it did. I went through that journey. That's why I could speak about that story. And we hear a lot of people talk about the Dark Night of the Soul, but they don't tell you what happened through it. And there's loads of people, Michael Beckworth, Eckhart Tolle, Neil Donald Walsh, the list goes on. Maybe Tony Robbins might have spoke about it. Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, you know, they've all gone through the Dark Night of the Soul because it's the foremost transformation of discovering your true identity. So when I see a lot of YouTubers talking about the Dark Night of the Soul, they haven't really come out with the new identity of it. They just say, I went through the Dark Night of the Soul and it felt like this and this happened and that happened. And what? Well, what's the result? What did you get from it? The real Dark Night of the Soul truly is a complete transformation. Everything's got to change. Everything's going to go. There's no aspect of who you are. It's all gone. And so forth. That's beamism. That was the Ember Key Awakening. That was the Artist's Way. That's the code of I see a Beam Me. There's much more behind Beam Me. I just keep it simple. Beam Me. I might read some of the stuff in my little booklet here just to give you a couple of other beamies that goes on there. Right, let's move on. Send in your questions, people. Beamies, not people. VG, Trevor, have you seen videos about near-death experiences? I have. I've had a kind of very close. I've been to the spirit world, so it's not that I died, but it's the same thing that an NDE is going to talk about. They went to the spirit world and they sensed this and they sensed that. I totally get all of that. I had all of that, but I didn't actually die. The only real near death that I had when I really thought I'd had it and it was over is in a men's toilet on a railway station, and my appendix busted And so therefore my whole body just went into panic mode, and oh my God, that was so painful and so awful. And there was just, I swear, the toilets on a railway station are probably the dingiest you're ever going to get in a way. I'm talking way back in the day. And I was in so much pain, I went into panic mode, and I couldn't breathe, and the pain was just excruciating. And I just heard a voice say, you can control this. Control this. Control the pain. Control the pain. Get up. We're going to get out of this. And I swear, it lit up. Everything, the cubicle just lit up, and there was this sense of calmness. And all the struggle and the pain, I mean, struggling for breath is very, very difficult to understand unless you've experienced it. But when you struggle for breath to take your next breath, the experience is frightening. It's so, you know, death is like that struggle for that last breath if it's happening in a certain way. And that was the most terrifying thing that I ever went through. But after that, obviously I'm still here because that was like 40 years ago. But after that, I truly do realise now that God is in the breath, because when that breath goes, it's just gone, isn't it? So we're almost like a bag of wind, aren't we? We're skin and bone and wind, the breath, and there's like concertina that's in, out, you know. To me, that's the God within. You don't tell the heart to keep pumping. You don't tell yourself to breathe in and to breathe out. That to me is God, and we really do take the piss out of that quite a lot. Trevor, have you seen videos about near death? Yes, I have. I find them interesting. They all say the same thing, all very much the same thing. But I wonder how many of them are sort of saying how, oh God, how disappointing it was for to. Hold up, I've just lost me thing here. Let's just click on that. I wonder how many of them died and came back and thought, shit, I've got to die again at some point now. Why can't I just stay dead and not come back? So I'd like to find out whether or not there's a little bit of a disappointment there somewhere, because now they've got to go through the whole thing again on the dying process. Right, okay, let's have a look here. Right, let's go back up. You are home. I think, right, thank you for the words. Right, my father was adopted. Oh God, what are you doing, trackpad? Right, excuse me a minute. Right, let's go back to the mouse. The mouse. What's that going to click on? Right, let's go back to the mouse. Right, otherwise, if not, I just end up missing people's questions. Right, I have to go back up now. Right, Trevor, have you seen near death? Right, Ethnicity says, my mum was afraid of snakes. My brother teased me with frogs. I'm phobic of both. Bastards. Bloody bastards. Children. Yeah, see, that's where it is, isn't it? See, we don't know what we do to another. It's terrible. It's awful what we do to another. And again, in your awakening, you'll realise what you've done to others as well. Not what they've done to you, but also what you have done to others. And it's as simple as that. We find it funny to tease somebody with a frog, but listen, it's a phobia for the rest of your life. Diana says, I hate my own religion. It hurts me a lot and wastes 45 years there. You're not alone with that one. You're truly not alone. So many people are coming away from it now because they're awakening to the fact that they've kind of been misled. It sounded like a beautiful story, didn't it, really? And I've looked at some of it and sort of thought, God, I wish it's like the Father Christmas thing. You really wish there was a Father Christmas. At least there'd be some sort of magic on the planet. And then you get told, oh, there's no kids watching, there shouldn't be. Hopefully you then get told that it doesn't exist. Somebody might be watching, I'm not going to say it, but you know what I'm saying. And then you look at your parents and say, you lied to me. That's that face of a 13-year-old. You lied to me. Do you think sometimes when you are example judged, and it will trigger your human being emotional habit, and you realize you don't have to do this anymore the way your family did. Oh, definitely do not do what your family have done. No. Completely break away. You know, I could say I came from no real love really, but was the power of that teaching me that because I come from no love, did that mean I had to go through life being non-loving? Or did it teach me to love? Yeah, see, rethink that question. Coming from no love, I could have just been no love. Or did it teach me to love because I knew the difference of no love? I say the latter. It taught me to love because I know what it's like when I didn't come from that. And so therefore, love for me, which means living one vibrational energy. Love, couple that up with be me, living one vibrational energy, body, mind, experience, which means love, be me. Be me love. Be me love, man. It's called baby. There's a Be Me Baby as well. It's part of the process. And the Be Me Baby is body, mind, energy, becoming a better you. B-A-B-Y. Becoming a better you. Or be a better you. Be Me Baby. That's a great t-shirt. Be Me Baby. I'm a Be Me Baby. Right, Zentsu. Right, we said that one. Yeah, once you stop the judges, and get rid of everything that your parents said, because really and honestly they're liars, and they truly are, because they're fitted into the programming, and they should have taught you differently. So in the evolution of family, just in that part of it, did they teach you to evolve, or did they just keep you hooked into their programming and then therefore gave you a shitload of their fears? It's a shitload of their fears. And so therefore, this is how you do it. Discover within yourself, what part of you do you think is your mother that's playing out in you, and what part do you think is your father that's playing out in you? Recognize the two parts that's playing in you, because them two parts have made up who you are. Then get them two parts out of the way, and then that leaves you with the middle pathway, which is your be me, not their be me. Make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. But that's the most interesting thing about it. But parents taught parents. Parents taught parents. Parents are just children with longer trousers and a beard. Not the women. But Dowry says, oh, a vid about family lineage. That is interesting. I find myself doing better, feeling lighter, then felt dragged down with pain still coming from there in the form of relationships. Yeah, I mean, relationships can do all of that. I think relationships are the truest point behind spirituality. I think we need to get that right. I think one of the biggest wars on the planet is relationships. And then I think it's the second biggest war. The first biggest war is going off in everyone's head. The second biggest war is between relationships. Two big wars. We're still not getting the relationship right. You know, girl meets boy, boy meets boy, girl meets girl, and who else, whoever goes on with the rest of that list, I don't know anymore. But when we look at relationship, it's just a relationship. You like them, you don't. You use them and abuse them, and you get rid of them, you treat them bad. Oh God, we'll get another one. You know, we've got this very poor antidote of what is truly a relationship. But when I found out the real meaning behind relationship, God, I was mortified, absolute mortified of the way I've acted and everyone is acted in relationships. We are really bad at relationships. Right, so yes, you will be judged, your trigger, your human emotions. Emotions are always being triggered. That's the thing, sticks and stones, right? Words will never hurt you. Yes, they do. Right, found myself being better, lighter. Yeah, lighten up. My father was adopted in 1945. Okay, that would make around about sense, wouldn't it? Be around about the wartime. So yeah, I think a lot of adoptions went on there a lot of the time. Obviously, he was probably born around that 1945 mark. I remember my mum turning around. My mum was born in 1933, and so therefore, when the war came, she was one of the children that got put on the train and got shipped out. Shipped out. You don't get shipped out on a plane, on a train, do you? It is shipped out. And she had to go somewhere and live with other people. And the interesting thing is, when you get gold out of your family, because they never want to speak about it, it's something they've all forgotten about it. But it was her and her brother. And what was happening, now I can understand why my mum was hard, right, to this word called love. Because when they got shipped out, they was only very young, very, very young. And when they had to go to a family, they wanted her brother, but they didn't want her. So that became that journey of not feeling wanted. And then when she did find a family that was going to take both of them on, she had to sleep under the stairs like Harry Potter. Can you imagine how I don't know how old she was, 6, 7, 8, couldn't have been no older, having to sleep under the stairs. Not a good look, is it? Harry Potter didn't like it. So yeah, so I understand my mum's journey. I understand the trauma that she went through. But I'm glad she told me about that, because that gave me a lot of education in the upbringing and the experience of who she was and is. And then once I knew that, I could forgive my mum in the way that she acted, because there was no other way to act. That's just the way that it worked in her journey. Always get to find out about your parents, but most importantly, you can turn around and say, oh, your parents never loved you, right? Going back into the granddads and the grandmas and find out if the grandparents actually loved your mum and dad. And if they didn't, well, there's your answer. So it's not the blame of your mum and dad, really. It could be the blame of the grandparents. But then let's slip back another generation. What was they like? So what you've got to realise is, everyone wants this love thing. And we all want our parents to love us. But do they actually know what that truly means? And I'm going to say no, they really don't. They can give you safety, so you've got love. I think they're better now than they would have been back in the day. Back in the day, it was called survival. Didn't really have time for love, really. You was lucky if you got a loaf of bread to be able to feed yourself and the 10 kids, because it seemed like they had just loads of kids. I don't know, what didn't make sense to me. But yeah, loads of kids and can't afford to look after them. So, it's all about understanding, not so much blaming your parents. You have to go beyond that. And then you have to blame the system, that your parents didn't have time to love, or they was angry all the time, trying to struggle, trying to survive, trying to make ends meet. I mean, it's been bloody awful for everybody. Renee says, thank you for words on my question. Yes, I was adopted in early 60s. There's that moment, as I said to you. I did do a DNA, and I have Irish, Scottish and Swedish. Yes, I ask often, who am I? And I always look to the sky and say, I want to go home. Totally understand what you're saying. Come away from that, though, and come home. Because this is the home, which brings us into the story where I turned around and said, well, what is the kingdom of God? The kingdom of heaven is within you, right? Everyone's talking about it. Yeah, but where's the steps? Well, Being Me, for me, became the steps, because the kingdom for me within, in my story, seemed like it was the kingdom of hell. I didn't like what was going on inside. I didn't like that voice of mine inside. I didn't like the way it treated me. I didn't like the way it didn't like me or love me. I didn't like the way it had put me down. I didn't like the emotions that it brought up. So, you know, and especially in the dark night of the soul, because that really is the trial, the big initiation, and that's going to get nasty, very nasty. And so, oh, I've lost track. So I know what the kingdom of hell feels like. And the interesting thing about it is that the kingdom of hell can feel quite natural. It just is. It's just the way that you are. It's, you know, we all say, well, it's just the way that I am. Take it or lump it, you know. And so, actually, I've got to change that. Take it or leave it sort of thing. That's who I am. And so, therefore, but that's not who you are. But I believe that my inner kingdom was playing out the experiences, and I thought that's who I was until I went into the dark night of the soul. Then I found out that's not who I was, but I also realised I was filled with a lot of pain, which also is not who I am. And then I broke through into the Beamy, and that for me is when I discovered my own kingdom of heaven was within me. There was that place of like, oh God, you know, I got through. That was an awful journey. And there was contentment in there, there was a peacefulness in there, there was no emotions in there. And that was just truly an amazing, beautiful feeling when you can get rid of these hurtful, painful, resentful disappointments, and you can clear your body from that. That in itself is gold. That is just so beautiful. So yeah, if you get in home, that home is within. You're going to get home at some point. That's a given. But understanding your home within you, to be you, and who am I, start adapting the Beamy. Look at the Beamy and the way that I put it out there. That's your best bet. That's your safest bet. It's your truest bet. It's the way forward. It's definitely the way forward, and you will find home. You're just battling your human argument. You're arguing between truth and illusion, and that you know that you're missing something. And home is a feeling of security, isn't it? So you could look at yourself and say, I just don't feel secure within myself. There's nothing worse than having a home where you don't feel secure. So if you have parents that are arguing a lot and you're dreading going home, you're in a place of insecurity, and that's a place of no love. And of course that insecurity then affects you, your children. So therefore your inner kingdom becomes a place of insecurity. I think that's why the original was like, seek God first before anything else. But to me, that was like, seek God within you first. Well, you can't do it first, because otherwise you would have done it way back. But when you've got nowhere else to turn to, you are your only saviour. You've got to save yourself if you want to save. But you will get home. Now, let me give you another meaning behind home. Heaven on Mother Earth. Hell on Mother Earth. Home. Then put Beamy. Heaven on Mother Earth. Body, mind, experience. Beamy is my home. Do you like that? Oh, I got plenty of them. It all became part of the code, because I had to turn 40 years of writing, not 40 years of writing, what am I talking about? Quite a lot of years of writing, and I had to dismantle it. And have you seen a film, I think it's called 1,000 Words with Eddie Murphy. It's just come on Netflix. And it's about this tree, and every time he speaks, the leaves fall off this tree. And he's a publisher. He's an agent for a publisher. And he sees this spiritual guy, and this spiritual guy tells him he's got a book. And he's trying to sell this book without selling it. And he's asking for multi-millions for this book. Well, when he gets this book, it's only got 5 pages. Right? It's only got 5 pages in the book. Classic, isn't it? But that's what happened to me. So the guy turns around and says, we haven't got a book, we've got a pamphlet. So for me, after all my channeled writings and my questions, my answers, discovering beamism and all of these things, I had a shitload of suitcases that were filled to the brim. And a publisher once asked me, he said, how big's your book? And I said, it's 40 kilos. And he went, what are you talking about? I said, well, it fills an entire suitcase, and it's a 40 kilo suitcase, so it's stacked to the brim with my book. So I said, my book doesn't come in pages, it comes in weight. So it's 40 kilos. But the interesting thing was, here's what I did. I burnt it all. I burnt it. It took me 3 days to burn it all. I think there was 2 suitcases full of complete writings. And I had to reduce it. And when I was burning it, I said to myself, well, if I don't know it now, I'll never know it. And do you know what I was left with? A pamphlet. I tell you that from 1998, and I still write now, and I burnt it about 3-4 years ago. So, you know, good sort of 20 years ago. There were so many books, so many writings, and I reduced it to a pamphlet. And this can be reduced, and I can reduce it to Einstein theory, E equals mc squared. I can reduce be me into 3 letters, be me. So this one book could really just basically consist of 3 letters. So what's the meaning and purpose to life? It's be me. Interesting. So yes, truth comes simply. And for me, simply was in 3 letters. Right, let's carry on with some questions. What questions have we got, guys? My father was adopted, done that. Thank you for my words. Zentsu says, I think a lot of phobias come from bloodlines. Yes, I believe they do. Or you avoid something because perhaps you are afraid of something. Or maybe you died past life. Did you? Or was it a family member? Question that. As on in plane, and now you're afraid of flying. Yeah, I mean, it all comes in there because all memory is scientifically proven. Your body, your DNA, goes back at least 20 generations. So yes, it's possible. But if you can go beyond that, you have just mastered life. If you're a person that suffers from no confidence, if you just go through that, you've just mastered your life. Just one thing. Just change one thing. If you can change that word of fear and you don't feel that fear, you have just mastered your life. Just one thing. Just change one thing. Imogen, isn't it worth coming back to try to live a more loving life? What, in a life that's not loving? You can do that, but let's do it now. Do it now. You ain't got to come back. This is why you're watching this show. You're going to do it now, and whatever long you've got left, that's your accomplishment. You will do that. You will love this life. You will love yourself. Love self, love life, be me. You will do it. So you won't have to come back because you're going to do it now, and you will live this part in a loving way as a loving life. You're going to do it. Right, so Chris Milk, you are home. Renee says, I don't feel that way. I feel lost here. Yeah, everyone feels lost here because the human programming has been designed to make you feel lost. Every human being I've ever met, now I'm not saying everyone, but I sure can turn around and say there's going to be quite a lot of people. Let's take the Palestinians for the moment. Do you think how many millions live there? Do you think they're lost? Well, of course they're lost. They've got no home. They're lost. So everyone is lost. No one knows. No one's got an inner sat-nav. But Be Me is that inner sat-nav because that is my... Where's the camera? That is my inner signpost. North, south, east and west is always a Be Me. Doesn't matter what way I go. I'll always be me. So that becomes my sat-nav. I see in a compass, be me. In a compass, body, mind, experience. I see, be me. I see, be me. Renee, Chris Milk. Chris Mike. Oh, she's put Mike now, I think so. He did answer one. The next question was one I gave onto the answering of the question. Right. Sometimes I can miss them because it does jump. So if I miss it, just rewrite it. My friend's mum, double E. My friend's mum was petrified of mice and would totally freak out screaming. My friend is the same, not a phobia though. I think a lot of people are. I probably was in the beginning of a lot of things, but we had a mouse in here a little while ago, and so cute, so beautiful, and once you get used to him being there, you just think, okay, well, he's there, and he gets comfortable and he gets used to you, and he doesn't seem to run around so much. He just seems to just sit there in the middle of the floor. He's watching you, probably watching Netflix, and I kind of got used to him. I thought, they're not a problem, and I kind of fell in love with it again. So it was really interesting. There was a really funny thing. We found out where it was living, and where was it living? Oh, it was getting underneath this doorway, right? And so we thought, right, what we'd do, we'll just block that doorway. So I just put this rubber mat up against the doorway, and in the morning, he'd cut out a doorway, so he could still go in and out of the door. I couldn't stop laughing. I thought it was the most incredible thing I'd ever seen. I was just totally taken by him. I thought it was fantastic. So I love him. I really do love him. I took some photographs of a rat a little while back, and I was feeding him out in the garden. So beautiful, so beautiful. It's a squirrel with a different towel, isn't it? Really, they're all very similar things if you look at them. Right, okay. Once you start to love life and you love everything on it, you don't become scared of anything. As I said, I brought up a couple of birds, a magpie and a crow, and my God, they're so gentle, they're so beautiful, and the energy they give off they are so loving. I couldn't believe how loving they was. I truly never expected that the magpie was going to love me, and it really did, and the crow, they totally loved me. Absolutely incredible. Tippy says it's a crazy time. Right, let's go back down. I've had an out-of-body experience. Brilliant. Explain it. Let us know what it was like to have an out-of-body. You do know that we can all do that, don't you? You do know that you can do that purposely, don't you? All know that. You can do that. Seeker, did you become physically weak during the dark night? Oh, you have no idea. Weak is unbelievable. I was as flat as an iron board. During the dark night, how did you gain your strength back? If so, thank you very much. I had to love myself. My friends turned around and said to me, Trev, this spiritual shit has made you weak, and we've lost respect for you. There's your answer. Unbelievably physically weak, mentally weak, spiritually weak, emotionally weak. Very, very weak beyond the word weak. That's where we get to that point where we don't want to be here. You really want to take your life, because there is an element of weakness there that is gone beyond. And I've never felt weak, because I got kind of brought up tough, and I felt like I was quite tough as a person anyway. But you're meant to go weak, because it's the only place that you're going to find love. And a lot of people believe, now this is the weird one, especially from the area where I come from, love is a sign of weakness, right? When you start loving things, you've gone mental. But you can be tough, and you can be a face, you can be a gangster, and everybody will love you. Oh no, don't start saying that lovey shit, because no, that's a sign of weakness. But even within me, I used to turn around and say that even though I was in that loving, I used to say to my mates, please don't take the piss out of my kindness, because it may look weak to you, but in actual fact, there is a strength beyond anything you'll ever know. And it's true. Love really is the strength. Weakness is the thing that you carry around thinking that you're tough. So wrong. It's back to front. The whole system is back to front. It's not. Nothing to do with it. So I'm going to say to you, yes, you will feel incredibly weak, and you can go on feeling like that for years, as I did. And you will cry a lot as well. Renee Flemons, do you ever feel not lost or at home with yourself? That's a good question, yeah. Well done, Double E. Big part of feeling, getting your strength back. Yeah, not physical, mental. It's the whole thing. You've got to get it all back. Physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Spiritual is a big one in that. Elemental, roger that. I had experience just right before I went to rehab over 20 years ago when I saw death standing right next to me. It's a sight, isn't it? Right next to me, was terrified, but it got me out of narcotics. Thank death. Appreciate death, right? Love death. What a great guide. What a great moment. Absolutely fantastic. I recognise something like that, very simple, where death wanted me to take my own life. It wanted me dead. In the essence of the human being, it wanted you dead, but little did I know it wanted me to die from the human programming and not the physical death, but it was testing me to die. And so therefore, I'd noticed it around a lot, and then just one day it was there, and it was big, and it was powerful, and it engulfs you. It's like a thick, dense black fog that you can't get out of. And I basically turned around and said to it, I went, if you're going to kill me, do it now. But other than that, I'm going to get through this, with swear words. I'm going to get through this. You ain't going to scare me no more. So if you're going to kill me, do it now. But other than that, I'm still bringing this to the forefront. I'm still going to bring beamism, and I'm still going to be the best person I can be. And you know what happened? That darkness bowed down, and that meant I'd gone through my initiation of the greatest teacher of fear that taught me to fear myself. It taught me to fear the unknown, and once I understood it was an amazing teacher, fear bowed down, and I discovered love, because all fear was teaching you was to love. That's my experience, but that was it. So well done you, Zansu. Powder Blue. Hi Powder Blue, you're new. During divorce, my parents fought each other on behalf of my personal development. Now I wait for my transformation. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? When parents divorce, it's always a fight, isn't it? It's always a big, oh dear, it's such a big mess up, isn't it? It just ruins everything. We never get to this point where it's like, if people understood it more on a soul level, they would get it. But because we're fighting over human conditions and property and children and who's right and who's wrong, it brings up a lot of emotional anger. But if you was intelligent as the soul, you would just both agree that it would be time to split, but we don't have to go about it this way. All right? So there is a completely difference. But I do understand. Listen, my personal marriage broke up. I come from my mum's 2 marriage breakups, and probably the list goes on beyond the society. It's probably running through our society, but it's so damaging. It's just a divorce, you know. No, it's a trauma. It's completely damaging. It's unbelievable. And then you get sort of parents that sort of break up and never want to see the kids again, or the other one says you're not going to see the kids again. Again, it's also wrong, because we're always wanting to attack the other. We never want to allow somebody to get on and that's so wrong. In the eyes of the soul, it's terrible. It's worse than the word terrible. It's beyond that. I can't think of a word. It's disastrous. People get a real kick themselves when they get to the spirit world, because they're actually going to see what idiots they've been. And that's the truth of kind of my story and the way that I've acted a lot of the time. And when I got to see it from the spirit and then look back at it, my God, it was so childish. It's like 5-year-old shit. Well, 5-year-olds are not too bad actually, but whatever age is bad. It's worse than that, because you're grown up and you will look at yourself and people are going to be so disgusted with themselves. You have no idea what's coming. Experimental Renee says, I just feel I don't belong here, like I'm good with and at home with myself. Yeah, it's a process. Again, listen to the beamism, listen to the story, listen to how many times I've said it, and keep listening to how I speak on the videos, because I take you through the journey, I explain the journey, I explain how I feel, and then I teach what's on the other side. So you can get through this if you want to. You can get this. You can't force it on anybody. So it's when you're ready. But it's really hard. I never thought it was possible, because the biggest problem that we've got going on the planet is that the human being doesn't believe it can completely transform itself. And you hear this saying, don't you, where they say, oh, you can't change a leopard's spots. And I think, I'm not a leopard. And a leopard definitely wouldn't want to change its spots. So where on earth are we getting this shit from? You know, a leopard wouldn't change its spots. In actual fact, it doesn't even know it's got spots. So the idea about transformation has been wiped out of the human psyche. You know, but we can totally transform without even leaving the front room. That's why you find yourself alone, and that's why you find yourself shut off, because that's what that is definitely there for. I know, I went through it. There is no blame. No, there is no blame in the game. But you will kick yourself if it's all about blame. Ellie Wynn. Hi, Ellie Wynn. Trevor. That is great you had compassion for your mum and what was her history. Yes, because you have to know. You've got to know. And they're sods really, because they don't want to tell you. How many people do you hear that was in the war, like your granddad? And you'll always hear someone go, oh yeah, my great-granddad was in the war. Oh, what do you say about it? Oh, he won't speak about it. Well, that's no good, is it? You know, well, it doesn't feed you anything. It doesn't give you information. Or it's like, you know, I didn't know my dad growing up, and so if I'd ask my mum what was my dad like, I'd just go, oh, well, he was a bastard. End of story. You know, get on, move on. Oh, right, okay. But then when I met him, 40 years later, it was like, okay, something don't add up here somewhere along the line. So you can get programmed in completely different ways, because people lie. People lie to cover their backs to make themselves look good, and you never get to the truth of a lot of things. But when you're clever with your questioning and you ask the right questions, you get the truth. But you've got to be very aware of how it comes in. Right, Renee, experiment, I'll let you two get on with that. Zippy67, I spent 6 weeks praying for everyone. Have you ever prayed to yourself, Zippy? It's all gone quiet now, isn't it? Bless me every day. Pray to self. Pray to self. Right, where are we now? I've been feeding a fox. I love them. I love foxes. I think they're absolutely fantastic. And they're so beautiful. They're beyond beauty. I don't know how anyone can jump on an horse with dogs and try to kill them. They're so beautiful. Listen, they kill chickens. Listen, we kill chickens. We have to eat. Because they don't pay for them, we have to kill them. Oh, they're so one of the most beautifulest animals on the planet. They're so loving. It's so beautiful. Rennie, let's go back up a little bit. powder blue, rich from the ones who show symptoms are the healthiest, the most normal people are the illest. Okay. Let's go back into the question there. I have to keep talking, otherwise it just looks like I look like my TV is frozen. Right, powder blue. Right, you're talking to each other. Let's find a question. Ellie Wynn. Oh, love animals so much. Love mice sometimes. Renee. I'm a natural health professional and energy worker. I think I find myself too busy helping others. I do forget about myself, and maybe why I feel lost. Whatever it is you do for others, you've got to do for yourself. Just twist it around. Twist it around. I had to do that because other than that, I was an hypocrite. It's as simple as that. If I can heal somebody but I can't heal myself, that's an hypocrite. If I teach people about energy but I don't know my energy, that's an hypocrite. So it's a final step. It's the wounded healer. That's what you are. That's what you come under. You come under the wounded healer. So now you've got it. Now you're talking about it. I'm telling you what the next step is. So whatever advice you give to them and do it for yourself. Because if you don't, then how do you know that any of it's working? See what I'm saying? We need real good healers, true healers, ones that have been through the shit, ones that have got out of the shit. And I could heal people, but could I heal myself? Well, that was the last part. That was the last part of the jigsaw. I needed to do that. I needed to heal myself. I could do that. I could do miracles on people. That was no problem. But I couldn't heal myself until I could heal myself. And that became the big process of Be Me and the Ember Key and the Heartist Way. Healing emotions awakens relationship trust in soul transformation. Heartist. So that's my healing module. So yeah, you do it on yourself now. Just turn it around. Listen to what you're saying to others. Listen to self about yourself. It will work. Keep practicing it. You do it. You can do it. Imogen, thank you for your answer. So simple and wise. Of course I can love now. I think I am actually. Bingo. You just won the lottery. That's it. Bingo moment. Right, Eddie Wynn. In family systems theory, I am the lost child and the scapegoat. I am. Right, okay. I am Be Me. Look, I have trouble reading. Get your words right, people. But yes, the lost child, the black child, the black sheep. Yes, the lost child. No one's ever truly lost, but the human programming has totally made us lost. Yes, the scapegoat. Always got to be a scapegoat somewhere. Ruth Jones, I was in my bedroom, I was frozen, I could only control my eye moments and breathing. I looked to the side, there was a grey alien. It stepped back so I couldn't see it. My whole body was vibrating. Wow, that's amazing. I've heard that story before. I see the ghost side of it all, but you saw the grey alien. They're watching you then. What blood type are you? They're looking for blood types, you know. I'd love to see one, but so many people get affected by it though. They can't handle it. Have you seen the film? Oh, I can't remember the name of the film. I just got it as well. Oh, I can't remember it now, but it was about alien taking people and then coming back. And, oh, right, no, I can't talk about that. It's a great film. I can't remember what it is now, but they explained why they was taking them in. Oh, right. The reason why they was taking people is that they was at a point in their life where they went from their biological state into that other state, which is what's happening to us. We're going from the humanness of who we are and we're transforming into the transhuman, and God knows where else it's going to go and what else they're going to do with people's DNA. And the alien was the final result of it after thousands and thousands of years in that progression. And what they was coming back to understand what our biological state was, because they wanted to remember what it used to be like back in the day. Just a story, just a theory, but somehow it kind of resonated with me. I kind of thought it was really right. I've had a few, right, grey alien. Try telling that to the world, you know, it's part of what this film was all about. Try telling that to the world. My God, nobody believes you. It's really weird, and you can't, you know, if you tell the world you saw Jesus, don't bother telling them, because they won't believe you. Even if Jesus come back and said, I'm Jesus, they still wouldn't believe him. If they did, they'd kill him again. Ruth Jones, I've had a few OBEs. A few orbs. See, these glasses are not right. I'm still waiting for my glasses. Out-of-body experiences over the years above is one of them. Yeah, you can do out-of-body experiences. You can do it. I've done it quite a lot. I don't do it so much now. I've forgotten all about it, to be honest with you. Sophia, the goddess Sophia. The Gita is 5,000 years old. The Upanishads shares who am I. Don't leave here without that knowledge. Okay, that is, yeah, always have knowledge. The forbidden fruit. Eat the knowledge. We should have had that in the bloody beginning. Be me is knowledge. Being me is knowledge. Know your own knowledge. Know your own library. Know what exists within you. The God is within you. It truly is. Now, I didn't grow up with this word of God, and I'm not a big fan of the word God. But when I truly discovered something in me, and I recognised that something was happening on the outside, I thought, well, something's doing that, because it definitely ain't me. So you kind of put this kind of God word to it. So I say to people, you know, what has your God done for you lately? Because I could quite instantly say that my God is called Mbeki, and my God is done a shitload for me. A shitload. Far too much in actual fact, but my God has done a lot. So when people pray, do you get answers? I prayed, I got a shitload of answers, a lot of answers. So I felt like that my God works for me, and I can't be more thankful than that, whether it's a God or whether it's not a God. Jane Tones, DNA could be an alien installation. Yeah, it can be installation, because 200,000 years ago it was manipulated. They don't know how, and they don't know where it came from, but we do not come from cavemen. And if you're anything like me and my family, then, you know, I come from that different bloodline. So my DNA has definitely been tampered with, and maybe that's why I know what I know. So yeah, DNA, definitely. DNA is an incredible intelligence. We still don't even know. What was it for the DNA? If you take the DNA coding, and it's ATCG, right? But in my DNA activation, my intelligence turned around and said to me, rearrange ACT and G, right? And my intelligence turned around and said to me, rearrange the letters to understand what your DNA is. So at first you look at it and you think, right, okay, got 4 letters to rearrange here. And when something like that comes in, it will take me like literally seconds to rearrange it. And it said ACT G, ACT G. So at that particular point, I was putting something together with my spiritual message, and it was called Inner G, Outer G, and Center G. That was the beginning of Beamism, which was taking the free world. So you had Inner G, which was inner grievance, inner guidance. Then I had Outer G, which was outer guidance, outer grievance. And then I had Center G, which means I was understanding the two. And then Center G meant centering God, or centering grounding, which meant I got the inner and the outer right. Then the DNA came in and said, rearrange the letters, and it said ACT G, which meant act God. And apparently, according to Greg Braden, it says DNA has now been decoded, and it says the God eternal is within you. Take that one out with Greg Braden, but I believe Greg Braden. I think that's a guy that's not going to say anything unless he's truly done the homework. Right, okay guys, we've done nearly an hour and a half now, so we're going to start winding this up. DNA, right, I've seen him 2 times. DNA could be alien installation, could be, most likely. Most likely. Even if you go back into the story of the Anunnaki, you know, these stories are all coming to term now, and these stories are written in the Egyptian hieroglyphs. It's all there. It's just, we live in a world where you're only allowed to see what they want you to see. So you have to start doing your own digging, you know. And, you know, I could turn around and say this, listen, we all come from spirit, right? You all know Jesus and you all know God because you come from spirit anyway. You just got to remember that you did. That's what I did. I remembered. DNA could be alien. I need to learn that. Yeah, need to learn. Always learn something. It's brilliant. Your soul wants to learn. It loves learning. It came here to learn. It came here to understand. It loves knowledge. But you've got to know the knowledge within yourself as well. But it does love knowledge. Even when you go through bad shit, it loves that shit because it wants you to heal from it. The idea is to get lost in life and then find yourself in life. Or actually, not in life, out of life. Right, okay. Zippy says, past shoulder length, light brown hair, beard, moustache. All right, you've lost me on that one. We are made in the image of our Creator. Apparently so. Apparently so. We are made in the image of our Creator. And many people have said that, but it's who was the Creator in some sense. Sounds like projection. Everything is a projection because you're not actually here. We actually are a projection, and everything is only stemming from the way that you project it within the mind's eye anyway, apparently. White gown. All right, so we've got a white gown, a dark beard, and you're talking about Jesus now, I should imagine. Zippy says truth. Right, okay, it looks like all questions have done. Ellie Wynn says we heal ourselves and others. Yeah, when we heal ourselves, it allows others to heal themselves. That's how it works. Truly, that's how it works. That really is the core of it all. When you heal yourself, people will say to you, you're different. What's different? And that's where it comes in. And so therefore, everyone changes their energy. If you can't heal somebody, then heal yourself away from somebody. And for me, healing was about healing away from the programming. That just made total sense to me. That's the pure meaning behind healing. Heal away from the programming and you'll discover the true self. Right, we're going to wind this up now. Thank you very much again. I'm signing off for the night. Checking in later. Good night. Sensu, my OBE. Right, I think we're done with all the questions. Please like and share. Let's get this up and running. This is my last chance now. I'm going to give this X amount of time. If it doesn't work, it's the end of me. I'm gonna move on from it. So like it as much as we can and push it around as much as we can. This is my last shot now. Before I move on and do other things. Okay, so not my last show, but I mean this is my last shot. Right, what's that? Bad Nurse 5443. Bad Nurse. That's interesting. Chris, woke up to a beautiful snowfall. How about you? Okay, you're talking about where you live. Bad Nurse. Explain yourself, young lady. Sophia, who are we, may I ask? Just go with the beaming and the rest will be answered. Ellie Wynn, my mum was about 14 at the beginning of the war. Okay, yep. Greetings. Oh, Dino, we're finishing now. Greetings, beamies. Greeting, Dino. It's storming in Buffalo. Rain and snow. Okay, well, we haven't got that, so we're all right. But I still say it's cold. I think we're at 7 degrees. That's cold. Bad Nurse, lovely to see you on. Thanks for joining in. Oh, right, okay, Double E. Do you know each other? I shall find out. Double E says hello to Dino. Hi, Dino. My OB happened when breathing exercises was flying and looking out of my window, then saw myself at my bed. Was funny feeling when I realised that I was out of body, jumped right back in. Yeah, it does that. You know when you get jolted, you know when you can wake up with a jolt? That apparently is when you're jolting back into the body. And also as well with that synapses, no, sleep, you know the word, that word, when you sort of like can't wake up, you're screaming but you can't hear yourself and all of that. I think it's a lot to do with that out-of-body experiences. But when you learn truly how to have that out-of-body experience, I remember when I was younger, really young, I wasn't even into transformation, wasn't even doing any of this stuff. I used to go out of body, and I remember coming out of body. No, there was one when I was a child, I must have been about 7, and I used to come out of body, float down the stairs, and go into the front room, and I was greeted by loads of other children, and we used to just have fun and play around, and I always remember that, and I can still remember it now. That was one amazing out-of-body experience. Did that quite a lot. And then my other truly magnificent, and I did it quite a lot, and I haven't done it a lot, but I'm going to probably try it tonight, actually, now we're speaking about it, is that I used to go off right on a long distance, and I used to come up to what I used to call my native healers, and they was Native Americans. I don't like that Native American bit. They're just natives, right? Indians, and they taught me about healing. And if I had anyone that wasn't feeling well or they needed healing, I used to take them along, and then they used to show me how to perform healing, and they was just the most incredible tribe. And they used to set a runway for me. I used to call them the runway of lights. And I could see myself coming across the water, and then I could see myself coming up into this land sort of thing. And as I sort of came into land, they was all there. My God, I've never seen such beautiful beings. And what I meant by that was, it was nothing to do with their looks. It was to do with the energy that they was projecting. It was the smile on their faces. It was the warmth of them. It was truly captivating, and they were so obliging. I'm gonna do that tonight as it goes, and I haven't seen them for such a long time. Yeah, but you can do that. You can do it. It's a natural thing once you understand the soul's level of connection, and knowing that it's only your body that's reduced to a very low vibrating energy that creates the matter that keeps you solid. But once you come away from that and you can free yourself from that, then you can fly. So I could be turning up in your house. You never know. Right, okay. Ellie Wynn, we heal ourselves and others. Yes, we do. Right, okay, let's start to finish this off, guys. I've seen him 2 times. So you've seen Jesus 2 times, right? Okay, brilliant. I could say the same. DNA could be an installation. I've did that. I do need to slide. Right, okay. I think I'm just don't like gibbering here as I'm going over them. Thank you so much for your knowledge, Trevor. I can honestly keep on hearing you for hours. Thanks for your wisdom. Thank you. You will. I used to fly like an eagle. I don't have that anymore. Well, you can. You can. You can't. Have you never tried sort of seeing through the eyes of the eagle? I learnt that from an Indian called Spirit Hawk, and she taught me how to see through the eyes of the hawk, and that's what she was. Her spirit was the Spirit Hawk, so she would take form of the hawk. And what she used to do at night time, she used to circle the encampment, she used to circle the land to keep everything safe, so she knew what was kind of going on. She taught me a lot, and there was an Indian chief called Chitika. And I never found out who Chitika was or what tribe he was from. I never sort of kind of got right into that. But 2 truly amazing teachers for me, because the natives were my initial first connections with guides, and at the age of about 4, 5, 6 years old, I used to draw. I can still remember the drawing now. I used to draw fabulous Indian chief guides with all the feathers and the plumes and everything. I still remember now. I wish I had that drawing now, because it was truly an incredible drawing. I was a good drawer back in the day. I probably still am, but I don't draw now. Ruth Jones says, we're seeing UFOs on the internet, UTS, all about fear, the programming, conditioning. So I think by the year 2030, Project Blue Beam wouldn't have happened. Do you know what? It's going to get so confusing now, and I think that's the trick of the darkness. I think the trick of the darkness is to confuse us even more so, which meant, listen, we was confused as a human being. Now we're confused about gender. Who saw that coming? Now we're going to be confused about who's right or wrong and what's real and what's AI. Then when the aliens do come, we're not even going to really know if it's real or not. We are going to be so confused. I tell you what, the future is well, it's just going to be confusing, and it's already confusing, as it always has been confusing, but it is going to go beyond anything you have ever seen in your life. It is absolutely going to get effing ridiculous. I'm glad I've only got short more years to live. I tell you, this world's going to go crazy. Hi, Trevor. What do you think about hypnosis? I went once and the therapist choked on his water. I could not open my eyes to see if he was okay. I never went back. I was happy he wasn't having a heart attack. So I tell you the truth about hypnosis, because I studied hypnosis, and do you know you can't take an hypnotist to court. You cannot take an hypnotist to court, and I'll tell you for why. Because it's you that hypnotises yourself. When I was doing the studying about what hypnotherapy was all about, and I read that, and I thought, oh God, I thought there was going to be some magic in it, and there's not. But you can put people into real deep trance, and Dolores Cannon, she made a shitload of money out of that, and she extracted quite a lot of work. But the truth of it is, if we go into the truth of it is, you can hypnotise yourself. So when an entertainer gets up on stage and you've got all of these people, they go like that, you know, they do that. He's taken X amount of people and he's seen it's almost like being gullible. So when these people do these crazy things, there's a part of them that's quite gullible, that in their human life they will do stupid things like that anyway. And so he picks his audience really well. That's why he has to choose them wisely for him to be able to finish the trick or to show people what hypnotherapy is all about. But to me, we're already hypnotised. And we're hypnotised in the fact that this is a human life. So to me, we're already been hypnotised. But when you learn to go into yourself and hypnotise yourself and leave this world, you hypnotise yourself, and that's where you find that knowledge, because that's what hypnotherapy is all about. That it puts you into a space so that it allows you to be able to speak, doesn't it? That's the answer behind it. But there's a way of doing it, but that's the answer, I'm afraid. And I know, it was in the course. I didn't bother really going forward with all the and I didn't teach it. I didn't bother doing it because I just thought, I can't be doing that. It's just a lie. My son, I am, says, hi Trev, I am. And everyone, he just woke up from napping in the car. Oh, bless him. That little face, I've just woke up face. Wait for the wants now, though. He's going to be hungry, that's for sure. So you better make sure you got something in the fridge. I used to fly like an angel, but I don't anymore. But try it again. Yes, you can. You can all do it. We're so intelligent. It's incredible. Listen, we've only got to go back to the things that we used to create. Look at the pyramids and all of that. You know, I know they say that it was created by aliens, but you look at the intelligence of who they was way back then. It's because their mind wasn't filled with shit. They only had intelligence, and it's a shame that Egypt's not way better than Dubai. I mean, Egypt should have been the most incredible incredible place on the planet. It kind of is, but it's rubble, really, isn't it? It's about time they sort of like rebuilt that, but obviously they don't know how to. Right, okay, so right, I'm going to start ending this now, guys. Right, okay, let's end this. Ruth Jones says, I have been writing down all of my experiences. Thank you, watching your video. Yeah, write them all down, because they are your experiences. And once you start to write down your experiences, you then go over them. Look, listen, I'm glad I wrote all of mine in the pamphlet. I'm glad I kind of wrote all of mine down, because we're so forgetful. I walk upstairs to get something and I go, oh, God, I don't even know what I come up here for. I go downstairs and I think, God, I don't even know what I come back down for. What did I go back upstairs for? So yeah, writing is very important, and I hate writing with a passion, but I had to write. I remember a quick story. I remember banning myself from no pens and paper, because last time I used a pen and a paper, I believe I was 13, 14, and that was at the moment I got kicked out of school for not writing, not reading, and not doing any homework. So that was it. I left. So I started work at 13, 14. And when this channeling started to happen, I started channeling all this stuff, and it was just amazing, and it drove me crazy. So I decided to ban any book, paper, pens. I just didn't have no papers, no books, no pens in my house. And I thought, great, that's it. Get rid of it all. My girlfriend came round at 6 o'clock that night after work. She went, oh, look what I just bought you, a book and pen. I looked at it and I thought, it was so good. I thought you might like it. I thought, you have no idea. And I just thought, wow, our spirit works in its very strange ways. Awaken Reflections says, hi Trevor, just want to say thank you. 8 years ago I found you during my first dark night of the soul, after I had a deep spiritual awakening, and you helped me through a very dark tunnel. I'm glad that helped you. It's amazing. Loads of people, loads of people say how much I've helped them. So I suppose that's it. I will never get to know how many people I have helped. I have to do this and sort of think, well, I don't know. How many people have I helped transform? How many people have I helped not kill themselves? And somebody did send me an email, and it's going to sound distressing, but it's the truth, right? I got sent an email. A woman said she'd had enough of life. Obviously, she was American because she had a gun. And she said I was about to blow my brains out because I'd really had enough. And then she said, all of a sudden, she said, I got this ping on my phone. And so she thought, well, that was a bit weird. So in that moment, she decided to look at what it was. And she said, when it opened up, it was a YouTube, and it was me. And it was about the dark night of the soul. And she said, I'm not ringing you up. I'm sending you this message because you've stopped me from killing myself, and you've taught me to live. So I know for a fact, people have sent emails that are so to the point of that they were that close to killing themselves, and something happened. And a lot of people turn around and say, your video just showed up just out of the blue. It just happened. And I know that to be right. And for people that come through to me that I speak to and help, they're on my soul's journey. They know me on a soul level. For any of you that are connecting to me and hearing what I'm saying, you know me on a soul level. This ain't some random YouTube that you're picking up on. Your soul made sure you found it. It's true. Zippy, I've been told many times to write it down. Still don't. Try, but if you don't, you don't. You just got to have a good memory. Because once you write it all down, I always say this, right? Once it's written down, right, let's put it this way. Let's put it an easy way, right? If you say that you keep saying you don't like yourself, you don't like life and all of this, and you drive yourself crazy with it, put it out on a piece of paper, and then ban yourself from ever saying it, because now you've got it out on the paper, so you don't have to say it. It's on that piece of paper to remind you if you want to read it. So I used to say it like this, that I could have all this knowledge and wisdom in my head, but if I didn't get it out, the next bit didn't come. It's like having a painting in your head of the Mona Lisa. Imagine Leonardo da Vinci saying, I'm going to paint this amazing picture of this woman. I keep thinking about it, but I've not done it yet. I'm too busy. But can you imagine at that moment when, and it does work like this for creative being, you've got to get that mental image out before the next one comes in. And it's the same with wisdom. Every part of wisdom and every part of the be me that I had, that I thought I'd finished, it wasn't until I got it out on paper, put it out on video, and the next bit comes in. Because you can only store so much within your mind, really, because you only think about so much, so many words anyway. So it comes in, you get it out. It comes in, you get it out. As you give, as you get, as you receive, you give. That's how you receive when you give. That's the gift. So every artwork or everything that you say that you're going to do, you've got to do it, because then the next part comes. That's how you evolve. That's how you get downloads of information. You've got to get it out, otherwise you don't evolve and you don't progress. Right, if you've helped one, you've done, that's it, yeah, that's it. If I've helped one, I've done that. I know that anyway. I've helped one, but most importantly, as well as I've helped myself. So, you know, that I'm very grateful for. But yeah, if you've helped one, well, you know, it's funny. I said to it the other day. You know, sometimes when people, you know, I've said it a couple of times when people say to me, "What do you do? What do you do? What do you do for work and all that?" I save people's lives. End of story, really, because that's it. I don't give them any more than that. They just probably think I'm a surgeon. No, they won't think I'm a surgeon. I don't look like a surgeon. But you know what I mean? I never thought that's what I do, even though I may have saved someone's life hypothetically because I'd done their hair and makeup for their wedding at the last moment and I saved their life. No, that wasn't saving their life. That saved their humiliation of not looking good for their wedding. But you know what I'm saying? Yes, if you can save a life, you never know what you say to somebody. It's just so interesting. I had a guy, he was heavy on heroin and he didn't think highly of himself. And I took his photographs, and they was amazing photographs. And he looked at them, he couldn't believe they was him. And he said, "Thanks for making me look beautiful." I went, "I didn't make you look beautiful." I went, "That's you. I just photographed you sitting there. But as long as you can look at that and go, you made me beautiful." I said, "No, you are beautiful." But he couldn't see it. But once I showed him the photograph, he then realised that there was something there that he'd never seen before. What a beautiful moment. And that's what I love about my photography. Photography is to capture a moment that can't be captured if you was try to organise it. It's a moment and it's a look. And you can get it with kids. And the greatest photograph I've ever done with kids, especially my grandchildren and that, is when they just drift off. It's like as if to say, "I don't even want to be here. I don't even want my photos done." And as soon as they go into that, you know, they can play around, look at that and, you know, and make a noise and that. But as soon as that moment where they go into their brain work and they go, "Oh, I hope Grandad hurry up and finishes doing his photos because I'm bored with this," that's my photo. And that's the winner. As soon as I get that look, I captured the soul. Brilliant. Right, be kind always. I feel like we are empathy and watching. Great. And teachers. Right, guys, I think that's all the questions. That's what I believe. We find our soul level souls eventually. All of your relationships, soul relationships, all of them. These people that turn around and say, "Oh, I want to find my twin soul. I want to find my twin mate." You've already been with them. You've missed the point. Everyone you've had a relationship with is in your soul, family, lineage. I have proof of it. I'm living that proof. I've got that proof right here, right now. and it's mind-blowing. If you've got one, right, Zippy says, job, you know what I mean, I hope. Right, okay, guys, this is it. Or a dictaphone. Yeah, dictaphone. Yeah, I love recording. Microphones. My girlfriend once said to me, how many microphones do you need? I said, I ain't found the right one yet. She said, how many are you going to buy? Well, I've got the one now. I feel like, right, okay, this is it. Your light so bright took me by my hand and guided me through my own personal traumatic human hell and put me face to face with my innermost self. Brilliant. Hence, awakened reflections. Now you've got to pass that on to others. So the experiencer becomes the teacher, right? That's the same me. I experienced it, so I teach it. I feel called out when I heard teachers. I feel called out when I heard teachers, Chris. All right, someone else having a conversation there. Right, guys, I'm going to wish you all a good day or a good evening until the next time. Thank you, Double E, for joining me. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. It seems like it's only 5 minutes, doesn't it? And it's all kind of disappeared. It's incredible, really. But that's what I find about the beauty of conversation. That's what I call a great relationship. You know, when you meet that relationship and you're up all night speaking, and you think, oh my God, you know, I thought we was only speaking for a couple of hours, and before you know it, it's been 12 hours. I'm sure we've all done that. I've done that many, many times. And I think that's when you find your light, when you find your truth, you can speak about it for hours. And thank God I've got a beautiful audience that wants to listen. So that gives me the voice. Because truth is in the voice, God is in the voice. And when you allow the human being of you to disappear, the God in you speaks through you. Right, guys, I think that is it. I will see you again in a day or so. I'm just running through with it all now. So if you want to connect in with me, or if you want to have a meeting, let's put my email. There you go. Send me your email and I'll send you the details to make that happen. Nothing to be scared of. I do this thing where it takes me 21 words. I can connect in with your soul in 21 words and I can discover everything about yourself that you've forgotten about in just 21 words. So if you need to know more about that, then let me know and we can make that happen. Other than that, I've got loads of smiley faces. Can I do a smiley face? What's that? Oh my God, I've got loads of ugly faces. I've got monsters. Why have I got monsters? Where's the smiley faces? Oh, here we go. Right, what one's the smiley face then? Is that a smiley face? I'll never use them. Yay, Trevor's got a smiley. Is that a smiley face? Yes, we've got a smiley face. Yeah, I know. Smiley face. There you go, my first emoji. Right, guys. Be me, be you. See you on the other side. All take care. Look after self and love self. Good evening.